Wait, that's not all the books. Now we got all the books. How the hell am I gonna do this? Hello? Okay, calm down everyone. Why am I stressed right now? These videos are like my most favorite, but also my least favorite ones to film because I don't know. Why do I get stressed filming when I read in the month? Tell me if I'm wrong, or if you feel the same. Why has August felt 100 years long? This is the longest month of my life. I love August, but this one was different. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in this month. It was a crazy month. I was looking at my list. I don't remember reading some of these. So, I have read, I actually didn't count how many I've read. 17 books this month. Is that the most? Or did I read? I don't know. That's a lot of books this month. I think I blacked out this month. I don't remember half of these. I do remember having a few 5-star reads, so that's good. But the rest, this feels like the books that I read at the beginning of this month were like 3 months ago. Like, I don't know. Starting off strong, we have The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. I love Ellen Hildebrand. She is my summer... Where was I going with that? She is the epitome of summer for me. This was her newest release. It actually came out on my birthday in June, but I just recently bought it and read it. This was like a breath of fresh air. I absolutely loved this. This is just a literary fiction book. You get all different points of views, which usually happens in all of her books, but this one's about this place on Nantucket that was like haunted because one of the old maids died there in a fire. And then this really rich guy ends up buying it for a lot of money and wants to make it this whole new renowned place, huge famous hotel for people in Nantucket to go visit. So he hires one of the islanders that live on Nantucket. She becomes the manager, and then she ends up hiring like maids and front desk people, like all of the people that work behind the scenes of the hotel, and you get all their point of views. There's also a mystery that goes on. There's this one girl who's like famous kind of influencer who goes around different hotels like around, I think it's the world or around the country or something, and rates them, and she's never given away like 5 stars. So they're like waiting upon her arrival, trying to figure out who it is. The girl who died, the maid, is like a ghost in the hotel, so you get her point of view, which you would think is kind of weird, but it ended up being one of my favorite parts of the book. It's not really storyline driven, it's more character driven with all the characters, but I was obsessed. I feel like this is one of my favorite ones by her. It was so good. That's the first one that I read this month. Starting off strong. The next one that I read was a book that I borrowed. This is when I was kind of away with my boyfriend's family. They let me read it. They were obsessed with it, his aunt and cousin, and it was called The Last Thing He Told Me. I forgot who it's by, but this one was more of a mystery. Thing is, I think this was more, to me, literary fiction mixed with a little bit of a mystery, because it's supposed to be like a mystery book, but it wasn't really intense. This was about this woman who married a man who already had a kid, so she lives with them, and the husband goes missing, and there's a note that's left from him that says protect her. So the wife has this like horrible relationship with his daughter, but now they're trying to find out what happened to her father and her husband. And this one, it's not a mystery where you're trying to figure out this crazy plot twist that happened at the end. This one is more like logical. Like, this is a very like realistic thing that happened. It's about his business. It was a startup business, and there's a lot of like business terms that were kind of confusing to me, but then I understood. Something happened and he is gone. No one knows what happened to him, so they try to figure it out, but it's like, again, more realistic of a mystery, so that's why I feel like it's more fiction slash mystery. It wasn't anything like crazy that happened, but it was definitely fun to go along with the characters of like figuring out what happened and following the tracks and stuff. It was a quick read. I remember reading it in like a day and a half. I was very intrigued and like wanted to know what happened. It just wasn't anything like totally crazy, you know? Alright, and then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This one I gave 3 stars. This one wasn't my favorite. I'm not really into YA romance. It's just like, it feels so cheesy to me. But the thing is, with this one, I didn't go into it knowing what it was about really. I kind of just like started reading it. It's about this girl who's like obsessed with romantic comedies. Like, her and her mom used to watch them, and then her mom died, and she has this neighbor who she's like rivals with, but he's friends with this guy that she wants to try to be with, so she kind of like has him help her, but like secretly her neighbor Wes, the one that she's enemies with, what was I saying? What just happened? I literally, my brain just went blank. He ends up helping her talk to the other guy, but like he secretly likes her, and it's like so predictable. You know what's gonna happen, you know how it's gonna end. But after I like got over the fact that it was cheesy and I knew it was gonna happen, it was fun to read. It was good. I really loved Wes's character. The main character, I couldn't stand her. She was giving like trying to be quirky and different. Those characters I just can't do. It was really sweet though, because she loved like romantic comedies and she really wanted her life and her romance to be one of those, and she didn't realize she was already like in an enemies to lovers romance with her neighbor. So that was like the fun part, but I don't know. Also, sorry that the sun keeps going back and in. It's very annoying. It was good. If you like YA, if you like just a rom-com-y book, like this is like perfect for you. I just personally, not my favorite, but it's good if you like that trope in that genre. Say You Swear by Megan Brandi on my Kindle. This one I got recommended so many times. I give this 4 stars. This one was a really long book, and I feel like some parts of it were kind of like unnecessary and dragged on, but if you took those parts out, it was like phenomenal. It's basically about a girl whose brother is very protective over her. She has a very tight friend group with like family friends of her family, like their kids, like, they're very small friend group, but like tight friend group. So they're given their beach house. So it's their last summer before they all go to college. They're all going to college together, and she has this big crush on her brother's best friend who's in the friend group, and that summer something happens between them. So they're kind of like tension between them, and then they go off to college, and it's like that tension's still there. But she met another guy, Noah, on this little summer trip that they had, and he's also on the football team that her brother and the friends are on, so they see each other. So they start dating, going on dates. He's amazing, but she still has this thing with the brother's best friend. She cut it off, but now the brother's best friend is like trying to get her back. So you kind of have like this love triangle thing, but this is where a love triangle, like, I like. No one cheated on each other. It's just he's trying to come back in her life and trying to win her back over. Like, he's pining for her, she's with this new guy, and then you get like 60% of the way through and you're like, how is there this many pages left? And then you figure out why there's that many pages left, and you're like, oh, like, this is good. I was so entertained. It was a really good love story, done so well. It's just some parts were kind of dragged on, and then also in the beginning all the names of everyone's kind of thrown at you, so it's kind of confusing to figure out who's who. But then after that you like know everyone. It's like such a tight like found family, which is really cute too. So I really liked that. Very good romance. But I didn't read too many romances this month, honestly, which is kind of interesting for me, but kind of straying away. Not like too much. I still love romance, but like a little bit. The House Across the Lake, I do not remember reading this month. Like, I started reading this when I got my wrist surgery done, so maybe that's why, like, I literally was off anesthesia at home when I started this book, and maybe that's why I can't really remember anything. But it's by Riley Sager. I gave this 4 stars. It was very entertaining. There was fast chapters. The writing was like so easy to follow. There was like little plot twists at the end of each chapter. Just not what I expected, but it was really good. It's about this famous actress who, after something like negative happened in the spotlight, she went to her lake house that she has, and she sees this couple across the street who just moved in, and something happens where the wife goes missing after she like met the wife, and she's like so confused. So she kind of tries to figure out what's going on. She has the help of her neighbors, who are also kind of not suspicious, but you kind of suspect them did something. I don't know. I didn't figure out the ending. The ending was not what I expected. I do recommend this. This was very good. Full Tilt. So I read this by Emma Scott. No idea what this book was about either. I just saw it everywhere. I heard it was gonna make me cry, and I was like, why? And then I started reading it, and I was like, that's why I don't read books like this. This is about a girl who's in a rock band. She is an alcoholic. She is partier. Her limo driver is the main character guy, and his name is Jonah, and he lets her crash at his place, but he has this illness. He can't really get involved with anyone. Turns out, obviously they get involved, but they're just like meant for each other. They just help each other in different ways, and that's the soulmate part that I really liked. It's just like the storyline, like the rocker chick, the limo driver, he also has this other like artist type of job that I wasn't really interested in those professions and like storylines, so I didn't love that. Their relationship I liked, and also the ending. I have a reading vlog when I was reading this, and it just like broke me. I knew it was coming. I didn't love the characters. I was like, I'll be fine, but no. If you want a book that'll make you cry, a romance that'll make you cry, definitely this one. I liked her writing. I just didn't love the storyline. Not for me. I don't like the sudden endings where it's gonna hurt. Then I read As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. I think I gave this 3 stars maybe. I don't really remember. This wasn't my favorite. This is part of the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. This is the last one. It took me so long to read this. I don't know what it was about this book. The first 2 I loved. This one was just slower for me. I felt like Pip was so changed in this. I don't know. This one was something happening to her, and she had to figure out like a whole mystery thing with herself. It was very like dangerous. Then something happened, and I was like, is this real? Like, did this just happen? I didn't like this storyline, I'll be honest. I mean, it was a good read, definitely entertaining, just like not what I expected, and I didn't really love it. I do love the relationship. There's like romance in these books. It's very young adult murder mystery genre, but there's like little romance between the main character Pip and Ravi, so I love Ravi. He is just gift from God. I love him. He's the best boyfriend ever. But I know it's like a fan fave, so like I understand if you love it. It's just like not my favorite in the whole series. I like the first 2 better. First one was my favorite. First one was so good. It's like everything kind of connects in the last one too, which is kind of cool, but it wasn't my favorite. And then I read Mary Jane. This I read on my Kindle. I gave this 5 stars. It's just a literary fiction book, and I didn't think I was gonna like it. It's taking place in the 1970s, I believe, and just that off the bat, I'm like, not for me. But it's about this young girl. She's 14, and she gets a summer job nannying for a family down the street, and her house at home is very religious, very strict. Her mom is very like on schedule. This is kind of like a coming of age of the main character Mary Jane, where her nannying family is very unconventional, very hippie like, kind of lets her do her own thing, think for herself, and she loves it. She kind of brings order from her personal home to their house, and then she also like kind of finds herself in the nannying job. But the characters in this book, the character development and just like way it's so character driven, I was obsessed with it. It's not very storyline plot driven. You're not like trying to figure out what's like gonna happen. Like, you're just involved and invested in Mary Jane's life and like all the characters at the house that she babysits at. Oh, it's so good. So good. Highly recommend. 5 stars. I got into the the rest of the Shadow Me, why do I keep saying that? Shatter Me series. This month I read Shadow Me, Defy Me, Reveal Me, Imagine Me, and Believe Me. So the last 5, which includes the novellas. But here's the whole series. I gave them all like 4/5 stars. The rest of them, my favorite, Okay, so this date is Restore Me and Ignite Me. Those ones are just my favorite. I feel like they were the best. The endings of them were just like, there was a plot twist and the character development. Those were like my favorite. Favorite character to this day is Kenji. I don't know what the Shatter series is about. It's about Juliet. It's dystopian genre, fantasy genre. She has powers where if she touches anyone, they end up dying. She's kind of held captive by like their government and stuff, and then she's taken out to use as a weapon against people. She escapes, and then there's like all these people that come into play, and I literally am obsessed with them. And there's like romance as well. Like there's like a love triangle in the beginning, and then there's like this whole other trope between the characters, and it's so good. Like you get a mix of dystopian and fantasy, romance, thriller. Like it's so good. And you would think between all of these books, like there's so many of them, like, where can you go from here? But it's done so well. Towards the end, like the beginning, you only get Juliet's point of view, but then you get like Juliet and Warner. Some of the novellas, you get Adam's point of view, you get Kenji's point of view by the end of it, so you get like a bunch of characters that you like really love and what they're thinking and stuff, which was really fun. It's also really easy to read. Like I said, it's young adult fantasy slash dystopian, so the way it's written, I love her writing style. I just like flew through them. It's entertaining, easy to read, different point of views. I just loved it. Highly recommend. And this is like a huge series, and if I could finish it, you guys can too. It's so good. Then like between those, like I didn't read them all at one time, the rest of the series, but I read some others between them. So I read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This surprised me. I wasn't gonna start this. I didn't have this on my like radar at all, but I wanted a romance. I was reading like Shatter main like fantasy books, so I picked this up because I saw, I think Haley Pham said she was reading it, or she was gonna read it or something like that, and I was like, okay, maybe I should too. And I gave this 4.5 stars. I was obsessed with this. I like binged this book. It was so good. I've never read anything by this author, but I loved the way she wrote. She kind of reminded me of Ali Hazelwood, like Love Hypothesis writing, and I don't know why. I think it was just like the banter between them. Like there was less storyline of what the main character was thinking and more dialogue between the two characters. And when two love interests in the book have like really good banter and they're like communicating with each other, it's so good. But this one is about the main character. She is part of like a secret service, so she kind of helped like famous people or whatever be their like bodyguard. She's put onto a task with a famous actor, and she has to kind of protect him, but for him, his mother is sick, so she has to move in and be his fake girlfriend in their little countryside house. So the mom doesn't know, so she has to pretend to be his girlfriend. So there's fake dating, and it's done so well. I loved it so much. The ending is not what I expected. That's why I gave it 4.5. I didn't love the ending like that much. I loved the characters. It was so good. I loved that the main character girl was the bodyguard. She's like really cool, and I really liked it. I loved their banter. I was like smiling and giggling while I was reading it. It was so good. Highly recommend. I'm very happy that I read this month. Then I read Rock, Paper, Scissors, another phenomenal book. I gave this 5 stars. This is by Alice Feeney. I just recently bought another book by her because I was obsessed with her writing. So good. So good. This one is about a married couple. The husband has like facial blindness, so he can't really like recognize faces, which is really hard for like their relationship. She wins like a weekend retreat in Scotland at like a chapel kind of like in the middle of nowhere, Scotland. So they go to kind of like help out their marriage. They get a weekend away. They go and just things happen. They both have secrets, like so many secrets too. And it's like the chapters are short. The writing style is amazing. You get the secrets and like plot twists at the end of every chapter. I had to like cover the end of every chapter because something would happen every single one. I didn't want to like ruin it for myself. It was so good. And the ending, she manipulated me so hard. Like it was so good. Like I was trying to guess everything that could happen, like literally anything I was guessing, and I was trying to figure out, and I didn't get it. And like you think that's the end, but no, there's more. You guys need to read it if you haven't yet. I'm obsessed with it. I love her writing. I picked up another book by her, like I said, and I'm gonna read a few of her other books because I just like her writing was so good. Like this is what I want in a thriller. I want it fast paced. I want plot twists. I want everything that was in this thriller is like what I love. So that book was so good that it put me in the biggest slump of my life. I picked up like 6 books. I tried starting them. I stopped reading them. I couldn't get into them. Literally so many books, and I didn't know what to do. It was literally like 6 days of a slump that I couldn't finish a book. So I decided to pick up a 5-star read. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just reread a book that I love and then like try again with a new book. I could read a story I already know about. So I read 6 of Crows. This is Crooked Kingdom, but I read 6 of Crows. I'm currently reading Crooked Kingdom, and I'm also reading another book, so I'm out of my slump now, but like I'm slowly also getting through this because I want to reread it. I wanted to reread this, but I was like, no, let's just read 6 of Crows first and do the whole thing. Favorite books ever. If you haven't read this fantasy duology, you really should. The universe starts in a different series, Shadow and Bone, but I didn't read that. I watched the show. You don't have to read that to read these. The beginning of 6 of Crows is confusing if you don't, but like not that much. After like 150 pages, you'll kind of understand what's going on more. It's just like a whole new world, terms, language is kind of confusing. But my favorite series ever, my favorite characters, my favorite world, obsessed. They're basically, the first book is Kaz, the main character, is kind of a thief of the barrel, which is kind of like part of the world. It's like the slums, and he is told by a merchant like you have to go kidnap or basically take the scientist guy that is held captive at this like really secure place because he's making this drug, and the drug can like ruin the world basically. So he's like, you get your crew together, you do this heist, you get $30 million. Not dollars, they call it something else, but they get $30 million. So he's like, yeah, I'll do it. So they go on this heist. He gets together a group of people that all have different talents, and you get all their backstories, and you get all of their character development and like their banter, the heist, the mini subplots of romance. Everything about it is amazing. And then the second one is also amazing. Just like the characters in it feel like my family, so I love them. Highly recommend. Six of Crows I finished the other day, got me out of my slump, because then I read The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one's not my favorite. I gave it 3 stars because I kind of guessed the ending. Her stories, I feel like chapters are short, so it's very fast paced. It's easy reads. I love the way she writes, but her stories, I kind of, as the pieces all fall together at the end, I kind of get what's going on. But this is about a wedding on a remote island, kind of like famous couple, but someone ends up dying the night of the wedding, and you kind of get point of views from different guests at the wedding that's on the island. You get their secrets and what's going on. You don't know who died throughout the book, but like eventually you get there. It was very interesting. Not my favorite thriller mystery, but I love her writing, so like I like her books. But yeah, I kind of guessed the ending, but it was really good. I mean, I didn't like not like it. I read it really quick. I think I read it in like a day and a half, so like I liked the story. I just kind of guessed the ending of what was coming and going on as it was like wrapping up, you know. It's more of like a slow burn thriller, so like you get at the end what happened, but you get like secrets throughout with every character's point of view. So it was good, but not my favorite. So those are all the books that I read this month. It was a crazy month. Again, I literally don't remember some of these books, but I did have some really good reads. I was very happy about it. Let me know if you read any of these, if you're gonna read any of these, your opinions, literally anything at all. Thank you guys for watching. I feel like I just talked everyone's ear off. I don't even know what just happened. That's why when I film these monthly wrap-ups, I literally just spew information about each book that at the end I'm like, I blacked out. I don't know what I just said. So when I edit this, it should be fun. Who knows what I said? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did, and I will see you hopefully in the next one. Bye!